Hey friends, today we have a very special set. This one is made by Pantasy and it's called the Architecture Firm. It is set number 85041 and it has 3,427 pieces. It is a fully realized 4-story building that has a retail store here at the bottom. It's got an architectural firm with a showroom and then multiple levels, and it has a logical flow for the characters to move from floor to floor to floor. So it actually has stairs to get through every level. And then it has a light kit. So it has a hidden battery box that's in this compartment right here. And it has all of the lights inside, so it's fully lit up. All the different workspaces all have lights. And it has several access panels too, so that you can get in to the inside. So we're going to look at all of that. We're going to take it apart too, because it is a modular. So the roof comes off, each section comes off as well. And then this entire area here lifts off too. So we're going to take a look at all of that, and we'll also look at these characters and see what we can see about them. All right, but let's start with the exterior and then we'll zoom in. Before we continue, I want to thank my friends at bricksewer.com for sending this set over for review. They've recently added a whole bunch of Pantasy sets to their website, some amazing sets. These are usually modulars with multiple floors. They come apart, they come with different characters. So they're really wonderful sets. And in my description, I'll have a link over to this architectural firm with a coupon code. Starting on the ground floor here, you see that we have our different characters, and it comes with 5 different characters. And these characters are a little bit bigger than minifigures, and so you can see that they're maybe a hat worth of height extra. And I do remember the designer Oh So Jang mentioned in an interview that he had to redesign this set to fit these particular figures because they are taller and their heads are bigger. So he had to do some adjustment to make them fit, and that makes sense looking at these characters. All right, so what we've got here is we've got one entrance here, and this is for the architectural firm, and you can see this motif they've used here, and like an entry pad, just to kind of signify that this is a discrete entry for the showroom portion of the architectural firm, and that's what's in this first floor. And we'll see this siding motif being used everywhere as well. It runs all the way up the height of this building, and they use a lot of this to just represent, I think, wood siding, which is really terrific. Lots of light being let in by the glass here. And then you see on the sidewalk there are these details. It's not just a plain old sidewalk, but there's actually this curved tile detail that runs all along it here. And then on this side here, we've got a retail store called The Plate. And we'll look on the inside too in a moment. But what this has is a separate door with its own entrance and a keypad to get into it. But this is a retail store that sells dinnerware. And so it has shelving, and it's got a register. It's got all kinds of things in there that help this person sell plates as a kind of standalone business that's along the side of it. And then there's a small bench here and some floral decorations along the corner right here as well. And then there's a separate door, maybe a back door for it here as well. And you can kind of get a peek of the additional view into it. And then along the back side here, we've got our trash bins, and there's like handles here, and it's all kind of set in there. There's a keypad. I'm not sure what that's about. Maybe you do need a keypad to put trash in there or to take them out. I'm not sure. And what's nice about this is that this entire wall, this is one of many walls that open up so that you get access to the interior. So what we're seeing here is this is the showroom, and I'll lift off the pieces so we'll get a better look. But for now, you'll see that there are these miniature versions of other Oh So Jang buildings. So that's really terrific. These are buildings you can buy as models, as brick sets that you can put together yourself. And I recommend that you do it. All right, and then there's a bathroom here, and there's a tiny little door for it. And you can see that this is one of those places where he had to make some adjustments, because you can make out that this figure is taller than that door. But it would potentially work whoops, come here, little guy. It would potentially have worked if it was just a standard minifigure, then the door might have been about the right height. But anyway, you can see that on the inside, uh, it has a nice toilet bowl with a sink, and then kind of a hidden detail back there. There's actually a mobile phone on a little platform there next to a mirror. So once we lift it off, we'll be able to take a closer look. There's also a rain gutter. So if you take a look right here, there is a sloped section from this roof into a opening that then goes down this channel, and then there is this like water, like a cloud piece that is meant to be water, where it's all kind of draining out into the sidewalk. So that's a cool little detail. And then we've got here a little more special shaping here for the tile work in the back. And then right here along this side, it's on the planar side, but I noticed that they have these two pinholes. Potentially, you can snap it together with other buildings. So I don't know what it snaps together with, but that gives you that option if you want to build a city. And this entire side, by the way, is flat. So you could put something along this side of it. All right, and then coming up, we'll take a look at this floor too. So this is the second floor. You can see that there's these elements on the inside there. The architectural firm actually is really cool. It's very well decorated on the inside. So you can see the siding extends all the way up, and you've got this really wonderfully angled window that comes in, and it's got this curved shaping here. Some exposed studs, which I think is a smart decision so that it doesn't look too flat. You got to remind people that you're looking at a brick built wonder. There is another window here, nicely done, almost looks like a porthole. Some details right there as well, and more windows right there that let light in. And then coming around, this is, they call it the pantry, but I think of this as sort of like the break room for the employees. So there is a coffee pot, a little bit of like a kitchenette type area, a sofa, and some place to just sit and enjoy the view. And you can see these hoses here. They are the exposed electrical and utilities. And we've got HVAC units on the exterior. We've got this big glass area that is a transition space. So the showroom is down there, and there are stairs that come up, and then before you get access to the next floor, there's actually a door, and then there's a door before you get out to the exterior steps. And that is a properly done method for controlling the flow, because you do need security. You can't just let anybody go from the showroom up into the main offices, and you can't just have a free flowing flow from the exterior here into the interior as well. So putting those two doors in there show that Oh So Jang understands architectural design, which is terrific. And then I love this exterior opening here and how it flows up and through, and it's kind of just cut away just enough for a figure to move freely through there. And then we're now up to another opening here. So to open this, we press here, and it's sort of cantilevered. This opening has a hinge that's here. So it's not hinged where you might think it would be, which would be right there. Instead, it's hinged in a really cool place that keeps it flush. And what that means is this section right here actually goes into the structure as it's opening up. And there's a section that it goes into that's hidden under the stairs. So that's what they're doing with that space. So you can see beyond these windows now, we see some of that main studio room with lots of storage, books, and then one of the drafting tables with a pen here. And the light is perfectly positioned right above it so that you can see the layout of this space. And it looks like they're working on, maybe a home or something like that on that drafting table. So really cool. Oh, and a boombox right there. So cool use of these hinge pieces to give you some access right there. All right, and then let's keep going up. So here we're looking at the third floor, and we've got more glass. And I love how this is all kind of inset, right? So if you were inside this building, you'd have plenty of natural light, but it wouldn't be harsh light because we've got this covering happening here that probably helps as well with too much sun. It probably controls the temperature inside the building too, to have some shading. So that's really wonderful. And then this angled piece that matches the angle for the window below it. And it's continued up here as well, this angled window. And so we come around, we've got yet another window here. And this is a really cool detail right here that it's another angle, and it lets light in from a specific direction and into this upper area. So this is that break room we saw, and then this area up here is a private office. And then coming around, the third floor does not extend into here. This room is actually double tall, but there is this like a floral decoration element that's in that break room that we'll see a better view of in a moment. We'll see some of these utilities. I love the shaping here, very kind of industrial, exposed industrial there. And of course, speaking of exposed, we're using these black girders as connection points for the exterior utilities. And then we're up here, we actually see a word written out using these tiles, and the word says design, so D-E-S-I-G-N, using these different nougat colored pieces. I love this right here too. This is an opening that is open to the stairs that are on the other side of it. All right, and then let's raise the camera just a bit. So with the camera raised, I'm going to open this so that we've got yet another area to open. And this has a traditional hinge right at the corner there. And so you can see into it, there is a conference room. So we've got a conference table, got a couple mugs on there. This white box on there is a projector, a whole bookshelf of books. On the back there, some display items along that back wall, some chairs. So we get 4 of these office chairs. And then this wall that we've just moved, this is the projection screen for that projector. And it all happens to be on this. And it fits so snugly in there that I forgot that was an opening until I was moving things around. And then I remembered, oh, this is actually an opening. It's so smooth and snug that it's extremely well hidden. All right, and then coming around, you see that this is that exterior walkway, those stairs, and then it ends up here with yet another door to access the upper rooms, the upper floor. And as a decoration, they actually have this plant here in the stairwell, which is a really nice detail. Love the striping here as well. And then of course your siding continues all the way down. And then you've got this window that continues what you saw on the second floor, with some look at the back side of those objects that they have on one of the counters back there. And then you get a little bit of a peek into that private office as well. All right, and then let's go all the way up one more floor. We're going to raise the camera. So up here we have the roof. We've got, it's completely studded. It has a bit of a utility thing here, and then it's got this access hatch, and opening that up, it's actually stairs that come from the very top floor. So you can see where the stairs might be right here. And when we lift the roof off, you'll see the stairs that come to this opening and let people come up to the roof. And the roof has good shaping along the backside here. They didn't just leave the siding hanging, but it actually has structural support. And then I love this detail here. Something that Oh So Jang is really good at is creating something memorable architecturally, so that it distinguishes the buildings from each other. So not only is the building overall just really beautiful, sort of futuristic, but it has this kind of flare right here that comes up and helps balance the rest of the siding because it's the same height there. So really nicely done. And backing up, you can you can see how this is futuristic in a way, almost looks like a spaceship, right? It has that kind of look to it, but it has organic elements where it's kind of curved and really beautiful, but it also feels a little, I don't know, almost brutalistic too, because it's using this kind of concrete, boxy look to it. So really wonderful kind of combination of styles to achieve that. All right, so let's start taking some of the pieces off, and we'll take a look at the interior. First thing I'm going to do is we can remove the roof here. So I'm going to pull right there. So the top of this comes off, just held in by these couple of pins right there. And then doing that, you have access to the private office. You can see that. But an even better view is if we pull this entire piece off, and there it goes. It's held in with these pins here. And pulling that off, we can see the private office on the other side of it. Right, so there is a lamp, artwork. There's a whole computer with a chair, and a bookcase, a crystal, flowers, and then there is a computer as well right here, a keyboard and a mouse. And you can just imagine being in this space. It's quite beautiful. Got floor to ceiling windows. The windows actually continue to the next floor below it, which is really nice. And here is another view of that break room. So we can see they've got this counter with coffee pot, amenities, of a mug, and then this big old sofa where you can just sit and enjoy the view. And look at how much window you get in that particular room. It's just beautiful. And you've got this kind of botanical tree, like either it's a real tree or it's a decoration in there, but that really works for the space, and it draws your eye upward as you walk into this room. And the each of those rooms that we just saw have their own doors. So this private office has its own door that before you can come into that private office. And then for that break room, it has this arched entryway, and then you can come in and you can see it. And while we're here, we can get a better look at the dinnerware or the dishware shop. So you can see that there's quite a few shelves, and the shelves are really nicely done. They actually have that dark red on top of it. So it's a white shelf with a dark red, I don't know what you'd call it, like a lining or a surface on top of it too, that really help each of those items kind of pop and stand out. So you can see the shelves are totally filled. And we'll get a better look, I think, once we start taking off more layers. We'll be able to peek back in there a little bit better. But here is our first look at some of the lighting as well. So you can see one of these plates. So it's a 1x4 lighted plate. All of the wiring is very well hidden. It goes through the walls and into different places. And the instructions are very good at explaining where to route the wires. And they give you specialized parts that let you run those wires without the wires getting crimped and without them getting pinched. And then the entire build stays square whenever you press them down around those wires, because those special parts have little provisions to run those wires through them. So they're really nice. And they also let you kind of move them a little bit if you prefer a different lighting focus, then you can do that as well. And there is another wall that can be removed here, and we're going to do that now. So this is one of them. I'm going to pull gently and then push out this way. So here it is. It has this kind of cosmetic decoration on two walls with this what do you call this? This is like a transparent orange goblet that's in the middle of it, and this entire section is a provision for the stairs. So the stairs come up through there, and this just helps people from falling into that stairwell. But with that opened up, you can kind of see the interior a little bit better as well. All right, so that's that part. And now let's look at the roof, and let's take the roof off, right? So this comes right off like that. All right, so with the roof off, you can see the stairs that led up to that access hatch that was up there. And you can see that there is a light sconce inside that um, exterior stairway. So if you remember, the exterior stairway leads right up into here. There's that uh, potted or like a vase with a flower in it. And then it also has this light right here. And it would have been cool if that was a lighted element, but it's still pretty cool. I'm glad that they included that in there. And then it has its own door to get into that top floor as well right there. And then on the interior here, of course, this is that conference room that we were looking at earlier. Some of the objects and decorations along this counter. And what's neat is that there is this kind of void on the other side of it. I think that's an interesting element. And then there's a bookshelf right in here. And then, of course, get a good look here at the conference room table. There's the projector with the projector lens, the controls for that projector, and then it projects onto this screen. Would have been cool if this was a printed piece that had some sort of presentation on it. That would have been neat. By the way, all the pieces that you see here, all the decorations are printed pieces. There's no stickers with this set. Thank you. And then the little chairs are about the right height so that you can seat the little characters on there. And what else? So, you know, opening it up, you can still open that up. A little squeaky because it's so tight. And you can see that there is a, I don't know if that's like a roll up. That's the top of the roll up projector is what that is along the top. So that might be what that is supposed to be. All right, so there you go. And one more doorway, and this is a door that I probably should open the other way, I would think, because this goes to that private office. So normally doors open into a smaller room, but anyway, I think the reason they didn't do that is because there's probably not enough space on the other side for that, because the desk for the private office is right up against it. All right, so that's that top floor. And let's remove the top floor now. Okay, so I just lifted off the top floor, and since we're here, I do want to point out that the light kit transfers power from floor to floor using these little contacts. So this is a special brick, and it has positive, negative, and they are one way. So I had to actually flip them around when they weren't working. I had to double check what was going on. And that's how the power goes from this floor up to the next floor. And here is the other side of it is this brick. So right there, there's these two connectors, and that receives the power from this floor and then lights up that top floor. So that's what's going on for that. Okay, so now looking at this floor, there's a couple things to point out. Let's start with the battery pack, right? So the battery pack is actually hidden inside this compartment. So there's a couple ways to access the compartment. One is you lift this up like this, and you can see the battery pack. But from the exterior, without taking anything off, I can access the battery pack just by pulling this drawer out. And the drawer, I believe, does it come all the way out? Or maybe this lifts off, and there's just enough space where I could pull that out and replace the batteries. And it just uses, I want to say it uses 3 AAA batteries, and there's this on-off switch right like that. So that's your way to turn the lights on and off without having to open anything up. You just pull the drawer out. I really love that design. More builds should do that. Even LumiBricks sometimes has this battery pack just stuck to the outside, but I love it when they integrate it, they put it in and hide it. I think that's really cool. And this is extra special too, just to be able to have this. The designer could have just left this open, but decided to make it look nice and clean and added the extra bricks to do that. So that's a wonderful detail. All right, let's zoom in, and you can see here there is like a loft area within the main office space, right? So and it has this spiral staircase to get up to the loft. And up in the loft here are additional architectural models, and then another drafting table, a little bit of a smaller one. And it looks like it is a triangular building or something going on there that looks very difficult to build out of bricks. And then you can see more of these floral elements that they've got throughout the workroom. And this main studio space, it's a really smart thing to add because, like I said before, it draws your eye upward and you can appreciate the height of this space. And speaking of height, here's another architectural model. Looks like it's a multi-floor building with a little tree there as well. And it looks like it even has a plaque there that maybe could tell you about that. On this side here, we've got another one of these lights, and you can see that the light strings are pretty well managed. They are hidden out of the way, and you don't see lights just kind of hanging everywhere like you might on some other builds. But they have done a good job kind of keeping them discreet and out of the way, right? Like, so that one's managed there, and it kind of is hidden behind that as well. And it's interesting that they have the images, like, I guess this is art, but the art has pictures of books. And I noticed that on the other floor too. This floor has a photo, it's got like a framed image of books as well. So they must love books in this architectural studio, so much so that they even have framed art that's more books. All right, and then this floor is all one piece. So you can see that there's more of those bookshelves that we saw earlier, and down there is that other drafting table. And that drafting table sits underneath the loft, and that's how that works. Let's lower the camera. So this angle here, you get kind of a better look at the space that's in there. Lots of light. There's even space underneath this spiral staircase. And then into this area, you get that other studio location, or the studio drafting table. It has its own lamp above it too, right there, which is really nice. And then you can see some of that storage along there. So it feels like a functional space, which I really appreciate. And these are the stairs that come from the showroom downstairs. So they come up. And then, as I mentioned before, you have stairs that, you have doors that then control access into this studio area, and then controls access into the outer stairway as well. All right, and then this entire section that lifts off. And once I do that, the lights from from the bottom section are going to go off. And that's because these lights actually send power up as well as send power to the first floor. So let's pull that off and you'll see them disconnect. Okay, with that floor removed, we have better access to the showroom area. And the showroom has more traditional artwork here. This looks like it's a building, and then this is almost looks like it's a bowl of salad. But these are the stairs that then lead you up to that open area. Here's that wire connector. It's hidden right there. And along the stairs too, at the very top, is a hidden panel that is the hub of all of the wiring. Also, all kind of comes together for this particular floor. It all comes together through here. And so it's sending power, it's receiving power here, and then it's sending power out to multiple points using this hidden hub. And it's built like that so that you can maintain it. You could potentially remove or fix things without having to disassemble a lot of the parts in order to get to them. So that's another example of really smart design. Bathroom is hidden behind there. And then we have some, I don't know what this would be, maybe storage or some sort of catalogs or things like that that are hidden in there. More displays here, a skyscraper, a large building, and it looks like another display for what this is. And then over here are two more buildings that are representative of Oh So Jang's other models that he's made and he's built. All right, and so those actually have little spotlights above them as well. Would have been cool if these were actual lights, but you know, they probably had a specific budget for how many lights they could run through it. So still really cool. I love this. It almost looks like it's a roll up shade that's partially rolled up, and it's covering the window just enough. And this opens up. So this is one of those parts that open up, and opening it up, you can gain access to that showroom. And notice how, just like in a showroom, if you ever were in like there's a store near us called Design Within Reach, all of the furniture is up on these kind of platforms. And this is a perfect way of representing those platforms. So you just don't walk right up to it or on top of it, but instead it elevates it literally and figuratively so that you can appreciate those models as though they were museum pieces. And so everything is elevated and you can enjoy it. I like that use of that green in there too, just to make it look like it's landscaping and grass. And from here you have a view out the window, out to the street, and you can see that the that extends all the way around as well, so that there's a lot of light that's coming into the space. Good door there. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe that's just kind of an emergency exit sign or something like that in there. So one thing you'll notice is that even with the floors removed, this is really cleanly done. It's tiled off these sections. You know, they're all really beautifully done. Here's a better view of our dinnerware shop too. Some angles that we couldn't see before. And you can see the window displays in there too. Let's see if we can lift this carefully. So there's a really big dish up on its side, a couple more elements, and then a cash register on this corner here where you can get where you can pay. And there's one more dish hanging along the wall there too. Let's see if we can get a better look at this full shelf. There we go. So you can see that there's actually scissors there. This is like a big cleaver, and then these are utensils, like I think it's a fork and a knife next to each other, and some larger pots and a basket. And that bottom, let's see if we can see in. There we go. You can kind of get a better peek in there. There's that whole stack of clear or glass plates there, another plate there, and then a bowl right on the edge there. So fully figured out. I mean, they're really just well stocked. And oh, there's even more utensils right in there too. So there's a fork, and then I think that one is a knife that's just kind of sitting there on the corner there. So really cool. And then look at the floor too. The floor has a tiled decoration as well. Here's a closer look at the characters that it comes with. They are not named, but you can sort of make out who's who within each. But you get 3 gentlemen, 2 women, and this one might be the dinnerware owner of the dinnerware shop. This might be a customer there. I'm not sure. She has ripped jeans. And these are my first Pantasy little characters. They do remind me of Funko Pop figures, and they have shoulders where you can move them on the shoulders, and you can move their wrists, and the hands are directional, so there's a left versus a right. And I don't know if you can tell, but there's actually tiny little fingers on that hand too, which is a little unsettling. They don't really need fingers, but it's interesting. And then the graphic design for their faces is pretty good. It's balanced, and it has character and good colors and a little bit of just kind of friendliness going on, and so, as well as their torsos are pretty well designed also. They don't twist at the hip, and they don't bend at the hip either. And so if you need them in sitting position, they come with a bunch of alternate leg pieces that are all in the sitting position. So every one of these characters comes with separate legs that are in a seated position with one hole. So those fit right into those office chairs that you saw. You also get a different pair of feet. So these feet do not have holes in it, as opposed to the feet in the other characters. In the standing version of the feet, or sorry, in the standing version of the legs, they do have holes. And something I noticed is that they are stamped with different numbers. So I don't know what that means. Like, are they actually different left to right? And if so, why did they do that? And when you plop them in, they are keyed to be splayed exactly that amount. So I'm not really sure what the deal is, and I don't know why these are separate from left to right or different. But what I've done is I just put them in as best I could. I put the feet in as best I could, and then I just checked them that they actually fit on a stud. I've had other characters like this, like the Farmer Bob ones, that they actually made a difference from left to right. If you put them in incorrectly, they wouldn't snap down onto studs. So that happened to me on a Farmer Bob one. But here, I think they've been okay. They worked out just fine, and they stand okay as well. I did have trouble getting these to stand on their own. That's something I think because they're so back heavy with their heads. None of these have alternate faces on the back. They really are just the one head. And oh gosh, it's hard to get. You can turn them, but it's hard to get the hairpiece off. And this one, she does have her own ponytail, so that lifts off and detaches from the top. Oh, there's her head. So that's the top of her head. But yeah, you can remove this ponytail piece as well. All right, so that's a look at these characters. I think they're interesting. I don't know if they're going to be my favorite. I sort of like the Lumibricks ones a little bit better. They're more compatible with the accessories we're used to seeing. All right, so that's my look. I really was looking forward to getting this set ever since I saw my friends Curtis and Kim review this set over on their channel. I just knew this was a dream set to get. So I want to thank Brick Sewer for making that happen and making that a reality for me. It's a beautiful set. If you can get it, definitely get it. This is a future classic. I say that only once or twice a year. But I believe this set will be a classic in the future, and it will be, once it's discontinued, people will be really sad because it will be a really valuable set to have. It's an impressive display piece, and just uses some incredible design techniques inside as well. It's not just visually stunning, but as you're building it, you're doing things, a lot of sideways building, a lot of unusual techniques being used here. Oh So Jang as a designer is absolutely amazing. And so you can really get a feel for the unusual way he approaches construction of models. And you get a great feel for his sense of architectural space planning and flow, and how things should be structured so that they would be usable functional spaces that are beautiful and that make sense. All right, so that's my look. Again, I want to thank Brick Sewer for making this possible. Like this video if you like it, subscribe, and you'll be able to find out right away when I have additional new sets to show off. All right, thanks so much.